This is a platform where we share stories of love, loss, and the twists and turns that life can bring. Please subscribe to support us and stay tuned for more captivating chronicles. For 7 years, we exchanged our marital vows, nurturing a companionship that had gracefully spanned a decade. At 37, I stood beside my beloved wife of 32, cherishing a life together that had been nothing short of remarkable. Though occasional arguments punctuated our journey, they were but minor blips in the grand tap of our otherwise affectionate, satisfying and joy-filled union. Our bed life, while less frequent than in the early days, still brimmed with vitality and intimacy. My wife, the embodiment of my dreams, possessed a rare blend of intelligence, humor, and stunning beauty. In the life we built together, I discovered immense satisfaction in providing for us. Even as my demanding job required 40 to 60 hours per week, she pursued her passions with vigor, donning the roles of a part-time professor at a local community college and a dedicated yoga instructor. However, the tranquility of our world crumbled like a fragile facade 4 months ago. In a moment of curiosity, I ventured into our private email realm. There, an innocuous conversation with an unfamiliar male name leaked out at me. The thread, however, was far from innocent. It was laden with explicit exchanges accompanied by videos of an illicit affair with this unknown man. My emotions surged and swirled within me like a tempest, with shock and anger reigning supreme. With only a few hours before her expected return home, I seized the time to collect my fractured thoughts and strategize my next steps. Those videos, a cruel echo of her infidelity, played relentlessly in my mind. Each repetition a fresh assault on the life we had so painstakingly built together. When she returned, I summoned the courage to confront her with the undeniable evidence. Instantly, her composure shattered. Her face awash with tears as she admitted to her grievous indiscretion. Profuse apologies tumbled from her trembling lips, but my anger surged to its peak. I informed her of my decision to leave for a while to seek solitude and reflection away from the wreckage of our once harmonious life. As I gathered my belongings and prepared to depart, her sobs grew louder. The haunting refrain of her plea, "Please stay," echoing through the room. Throughout my stay at my brother's, she relentlessly reached out. Her message is laden with expressions of love and remorse. Each one fractured bonds of trust that now threatened to consume our once unbreakable union. After 2 weeks of being apart, I found myself missing her terribly, a deep yearning for the life we had built together tugging at my heartstrings. It was this yearning that led me to return home filled with a tentative hope for reconciliation. But upon my return, I was met with the same vague answers every time I questioned her about her actions. The man involved was revealed to be a 27-year-old professor who had recently joined her department. She vowed to regain my trust and proposed a set of measures aimed at rebuilding what had been shattered. These included cutting off all contact with the man, changing jobs, allowing me to monitor her location and access her emails, taking an STD test, and seeking professional counseling. Her deep remorse was palpable, and her commitment to our reconciliation was unwavering. She lived up to her promises and was genuinely grateful for the second chance. Being around her was a joy, but the damage had been done. Despite our progress, the memories of her affair, particularly the explicit videos, remained a constant source of agony, humiliation, and embarrassment. The resentment I felt toward my wife was immense, and it impeded our progress. Their close relationship, the descriptions of his physical attributes, and her evident enjoyment of their encounters weighed heavily on my mind. She had adorned herself with new lingerie that she had previously deemed distasteful in our relationship. Her enthusiasm with him was markedly higher, and she went so far as to participate in acts we had never cited, much to my dismay and confusion. My attempts to understand why she engaged in these acts with him when she had refused to do so with me always met with the same trading response. I don't know. My self-esteem plummeted. The haunting images of their encounters serving as a cruel reminder of my perceived inadequacies. Our intimacy suffered as a result, and my mind was continuously plagued with the thought that I might not have been enough for her. The fallout of my wife's infidelity was a wound that had festered, leaving us both in a state of emotional turmoil and uncertainty about the future of our relationship. Our attempts at reconciliation felt like a futile effort to mend a broken relationship. The memories of the affair and the explicit videos that came with it were seared into my mind, causing ongoing distress. My trust in my wife had been shattered, and I found myself trapped in ever-ending cycle of humiliation and embarrassment. The graphic nature of her affair with the other man was a painful reminder of my perceived inadequacies, leading to a significant blow to my self-esteem. Their enthusiastic encounters, her apparent enjoyment, and her willingness to engage in acts she had previously rejected with me only intensified my feelings of betrayal. Over time, my emotions shift from feeling betrayed to desiring some form of justice. I couldn't help but feel that if her affair partner was capable of causing such harm without remorse, he should face the consequences of his actions. The idea of revenge started to take hold in my thoughts, and I had access to my wife's email as part of her effort to regain my trust. Among her emails, I found additional explicit evidence of their affair, which provided further insight into his actions. An idea began to form a plan that aimed to reveal the true nature of the other man. I carefully extracted all the videos from her email and kept them securely in a separate location. I conducted some research into the man, gaining a better understanding of his personal and professional life. It was disheartening to discover that he was also married, which meant his actions had not only affected my marriage, but his own as well. An idea began to take shape in my mind, a plan aimed at exposing the professor for his actions. I meticulously extracted all the videos from my wife's email and stored them securely in a separate undisclosed location. I also delved deeper into researching the man, gaining insights into his personal and professional life. To my dismay, I discovered that he too was married, which meant his actions had not only violated my marriage, but also his own. The desire for some form of retribution began to consume me, and I started to compile a list of contacts. This list included the professor's students, his co-workers at the university, and most significantly, his wife. Each person on that list would receive an email offering an unfiltered glimpse into the professor's true character. The process of preparing for my retribution was painstaking, involving the creation of an anonymous email account to ensure that my actions couldn't be traced back to me. As I drafted the email, I carefully chose words that were as cutting as the evidence I was about to provide. With each passing day, a grim sense of satisfaction replaced my feelings of victimization. I was no longer a passive victim, but a man reclaiming his dignity. When the time came, I sent out the emails. Each recipient received not only the explicit videos, but also a detailed account of the professor's affair with my wife. In the immediate aftermath of my retribution, the reaction was swift, brutal, and far-reaching. The emails with their lurid and explicit content spread across the university community faster than wildfire on a dry Californian day. The scandal set off a chain reaction within the academic community that was nothing short of astonishing. Ripples of shock and disbelief emanated from the heart of the scandal, touching everyone in their path and leaving them in a state of stunned shock. The professor, once a respected academic authority, found himself suspended, pending an investigation. His reputation, carefully built up over years of dedicated service and perceived integrity, was now tarnished beyond recognition. He was faced with allegations of immoral conduct that overshadowed his previous achievements and thrust him into the limelight for all the wrong reasons. A man who had been trusted to guide and educate the next generation was now seen as a predator, a wolf in sheep's clothing. The students who had once looked up to him turned against him with a vengeance. Their respect and admiration were replaced by deep-seated disgust and a profound sense of betrayal. They protested his presence, refusing to attend his lectures and demanding his expulsion. Some even went as far as to boycott his classes entirely, while others took to social media to express their anger and disgust. The man's colleagues were no less merciful. They distanced themselves from him, their faces mirroring their disgust and disapproval. The academic community, known for its close-knit nature, quickly felt the shock waves of his misconduct. His office became a pariah's den, with colleagues avoiding it like the plague. The camaraderie once shared was replaced by cold shoulders and averted eyes. In a spectacular display of public shaming, some of his fellow educators projected the explicit videos onto a large screen in the lecture hall, ensuring that the man's disgrace was visible for all to see. The fallout was not limited to his professional life alone. In his personal life, the professor was met with shock, anger, and betrayal. His wife, a woman who had stood by his side through thick and thin, was devastated. She filed for divorce, unable to bear the weight of his betrayal. The circle of friends they had so lovingly built over the years quickly took her side. The professor's home, once filled with love and laughter, now echoed with the sounds of accusations and heartbreak. His actions had not only destroyed my marriage, but his own as well. Meanwhile, my wife was completely blindsided by my actions. I had not informed her of my plans, wanting to shield her from the inevitable backlash. When the email surfaced, she was as taken aback as everyone else, perhaps even more so. She grappled with the enormity of what she had done, and I watched the sidelines, my heart heavy with a mix of anger, betrayal, and a strange sense of satisfaction. Her remorse, which had once been a hollow echo of regret, transformed into a profound gut-wrenching understanding of the damage she had caused. The tears she shed were no longer for herself, but for the pain and humiliation had inflicted upon me. She began to see the full extent of her actions, the ripple effect they had caused, and the devastation left in their wake. In the weeks that followed, I made the difficult decision to file for divorce. She pleaded for another chance, promising to change and make amends. However, the trust that had once been the bedrock of our relationship was now gone, replaced by a deep-seated resentment that no amount of remorse could erase. The divorce proceedings were a stark, painful reminder of the love that had once blossomed between us. As I watched her across the room during those proceedings, I saw not the woman I had fallen in love with, not the woman I had vowed to spend the rest of my life with, but a stranger. I felt a profound sense of loss, not just for the woman she had become, but for the woman she used to be, the woman who had filled my days with laughter and my nights with warmth. She had been my partner, my confidant, my best friend. Now she was a ghost, a painful echo of the past. In the end, I walked away with a heavy heart. Our marriage was over, reduced to a pile of divorce papers, and a string of broken promises. But as I walked out of the courtroom, I realized that I was also walking away with my dignity intact. I was no longer just the man who had been betrayed, but the man who had stood up against betrayal. I had exposed the man who had wronged me, and I had held my wife accountable for her actions. The following months became a period of healing and self-discovery. I recognized the need for therapy to confront the emotional turmoil that had consumed me, working through feelings of betrayal, humiliation, and inadequacy. Reconnecting with old friends provided solace and understanding, offering a sense of connection and support that was deeply needed. I immersed myself in my work, finding a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment in my professional achievements. Slowly, but surely, I began to rebuild my life break by break. I turned my focus inward, embarking on a journey of self-discovery that proved to be as enlightening as it was painful. Over time, I started to understand that my worth was not defined by my wife's actions. I was not the man her infidelity had made me believe I was. I was not inadequate or insufficient. I was deserving of love, respect, and loyalty. Assumed my every waking moment gradually lost their grip on me. They were replaced by a newfound sense of self-worth and self-respect stronger than any blow my wife's betrayal could ever deliver. In the end, I emerged stronger and more resilient. I was a man who had faced the worst kind of betrayal and had come out on the other side, not unscathed, but unbound. I had reclaimed my dignity and my self-respect, proving to myself that I was enough. I wasn't just a survivor of infidelity. I was a man who had turned of betrayal and refused to let it break me. Life after the divorce was a strange new reality that I had to navigate. My home, once filled with shared memories and laughter, now echoed with silence, a stark reminder of the void her absence had left. Yet in that silence, I found a space to heal, to reflect, and to grow. I developed a routine that provided comfort in its predictability and stability, helping me move forward with each passing day. I began to prioritize self-care, tending to both my physical and emotional well-being. I adopted new hobbies, reignited old passions, and rediscovered parts myself that had been lost in the tumultuous years of my marriage. As I embarked on this new chapter of my life, I found solace in my work. What had once been a mere means to an end transformed into a source of genuine fulfillment. I threw myself into my research, finding a profound sense of purpose and accomplishment that had eluded me for quite some time. My colleagues noticed the transformation in me. Their respect for my resilience and determination added to my growing sense of self-worth. It was as though I had rediscovered my identity and in doing so, had gained a newfound strength. This journey of self-discovery and personal growth had not only helped me heal from the wounds of betrayal, but had also led me to a place of greater confidence and self-assuredness. Dear listener, if you have reached this far, please consider subscribing our channel, as it helps and motivates us to continue our work.